How's it going again, everyone? So last video I released was plotting reviews of Star Wars movies, shows focusing on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and looking at some patterns. Now, the data from that last video is actually from about a week ago, a couple days after the season finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi aired. And since then, actually, the data for Obi-Wan Kenobi on Rotten Tomatoes has changed a lot. Okay, so this is the data I showed in my last video. Since then, the audience rating for Obi-Wan Kenobi, I mean, more people have watched the show, right? The season finale, at least. The audience rating has remained the same, but the critics rating has jumped from 67 to 83, which is a huge jump, especially for a week, especially from just the season finale being the only, well, not even the difference, because the previous data was a few days after the season finale. Now we're about a week after. So look at that. Okay, so this is the data from my previous video. Okay, a few days after the season finale versus a week after. Okay, look at that huge jump for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, again, the audience opinion remains the same. The critics reviews on Rotten Tomatoes have jumped a lot. Okay, from 67 to 83. Okay, which takes Obi-Wan Kenobi out of that central mediocre cluster that we talked about and puts it even better actually than episode 3 according to the critics. A little bit worse, well, just like before, than episode 3 according to the audience, but that's what it makes it closest to. Episode 3 still very far from The Mandalorian, according to audience, similar to Solo, but critics consider it significantly better than Solo, even better than episode 3, in the same category as Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, The Bad Batch. That's a big jump. Okay, so a big change on Rotten Tomatoes occurred over the last few days for Obi-Wan Kenobi. For Metacritic, things didn't really change much. The critic score actually remained the same, 73. The audience score dropped by 0.1 out of 10. Okay, so instead of 6.9, it's at 6.8, right? You can see that diamond drop a little bit. The trend is exactly the same, right? So that's quite interesting, right? Nothing really significant happened in terms of a change on Metacritic. On Rotten Tomatoes, audience score remains exactly the same in the few days that passed since the last data was collected for the last video. Critic score has increased substantially, changing the trend, right? Like when in the last video I said there's this central cluster and then the two of the prequel movies are kind of on the side of it. Now the trend is like, no, there's just this central line here where the audience think these films are pretty mediocre and the critics disagree on them, placing Obi-Wan Kenobi as actually the best of the films that the audience rank as mediocre. Well, not film, it's a TV show, but best production of those ranked mediocre by the audience. That's a big change compared to the data I presented in the last video. The data was a few days old, whereas this is data as of today, so I thought I'd mention it, make a quick video about that. Very interesting development. That jump right there that we see on Rotten Tomatoes, not really a significant change on Metacritic. And that's that. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time.